Okay, to my blog on autism and me. This will be a multiple part video of autism and me. And if you're wondering why it looks dark in here, well, the sun just came up. It's like 7:32, so the sun just came up. So yeah. All right, autism and me. Autism is a genetic, and um, it's in the genetic code. Um, 1 in 3 people in a classroom will be diagnosed with autism or be on the spectrum with an autism spectrum. Autism um, is affects your brain, but it doesn't. You see the world in a different way. Um, you see the world in a different way. Like I see patterns, and uh, sometimes certain sounds can really affect us. Depends on how um, depends on the person on the spectrum because it affects this autism affects each person, each individual differently. It's a complex disability, but we have learned a lot about it and through studies and through training, through with um, the thing really need to do, they need to put on in doctor's offices autism in me because there's a lot of adults out there who have not been diagnosed because um, they probably didn't know they had autism, but they do because back um, in like the 60s, they didn't really know much about autism, but I know seeing some people were very high functioning, but they still had struggling with social cues and social interactions at school. But they excelled very well in certain subjects, and other subjects they struggled, and teachers didn't really understand why. They would excel in certain subjects, and then English or math, they would be confused and frustrated. But with like history and theater stuff, they're really, 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 really strong at it, and they're strong in science. But with like other subjects in school, they would struggle. But now they know, and they have the IPP. And in the 70s, they would segregate people with autism out of classrooms with anyone with disabilities and put them in a separate classroom. But in 79 is when they had the IPP, and that was the first inclusive education. But with autism and me, uh, I was glad that I was diagnosed with autism in the 90s. As you knew from my video back in the beginning of the month, um, I just wish that more doctors' offices would have being me with autism because a lot of people have autism, and all I see at doctor's offices is being me with ADHD. That's good to have that, but they should have being me with autism, and because autism is very misunderstood by a lot of things people don't understand. Um, Sometimes we stem and then we fidget with stuff. Sometimes we hand flap, but hand flapping is okay. It just gets out your excitement sometimes, or you're nervous about something. It's okay because uh, we do that. Ah, sorry, that was just my diet Coke. Yeah. Um, More things is um, more places um, need to be autism friendly. It's part of the accessibility thing. I'm glad that last year Halicon had like a quiet room and people were actually quiet. And I went in there to think because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and downstairs there was a lot of action happening, and I needed a place to hear my thoughts and just to relax. And I'm glad they had a quiet room there. It was provided by Autism Nova Scotia. Um, but Alcon is very accessible, and a lot more people are being trained about. A lot of people on the spectrum like conventions like that because um, they identify autism as a as one of your superpowers, and um, I I had autism my whole life, and autism is not caused by vaccines, so get yourself vaccinated. Autism is not caused by vaccines. Autism is caused by genetics. It's in your genes. It's part of the genes. Scientists have found that out. It's just part of your gene pool, and it makes you special. And um, when I die, which won't be till a very, very long time, won't be until like the 2100s, 2100 and something. Probably not until 2119. That's when I'll die. I'll donate my brain to science so they can study it, so they maybe can understand mapping out the brain of autism and anxiety and panic attacks to understand the brain more. Because we did come a long way of understanding the human brain, we still got a ways to go. Um, they find new things like autism, how it's it's genetic, it's not caused by anything else. Just genetics, the way you're born. It's part of me, and I'm glad Mother Nature gave me autism. That's all I ever knew. And no, I do not want to be cured because autism is not an illness. It's not a disease. It doesn't need to be cured. And if I didn't have autism, I don't know how it would be me because it's part of me, and it makes me special, uh, and I am glad I have autism, and everyone should be vaccinated because autism is not caused by vaccines. Vaccines do not cause autism. It's just at the time when they're diagnosing autism, a lot of times you're in kindergarten or uh, that's the year, but they're starting to catch it a little bit earlier now. But still, the majority of the age is when you start school. And then the parents will connect the dots when you're younger. But it's a little bit more easier then because you're doing full conversations and your brain is developed up enough to make an easier diagnosis. But now they're starting to diagnose babies, um, but being a baby, it's a little bit harder to diagnose them. But being like a kid, it's easier. And then, well, there's a lot of adults out there that haven't been diagnosed yet because um, this type of testing me wasn't there, and now it is. So you can go to your family doctor, and then they'll refer you to a psychiatrist, and then they will diagnose you by running tests, and then they'll help you out. And it's good to accept that you have autism. That makes life a lot easier because fighting with autism is not really fun to do. Trust me, I know I did when I was a teenager, but then I learned that it's a part of me and I accept it and I like it. Um, well, this is the end of my vlog. I hope you have a good day, night, evening, morning, afternoon, day, wherever time you watch this. and you are loved and cared about. Someone loves you out there and you're cared, so don't worry, you're loved.